A Moment in Our History is brought to you in honor of Black History Month by Detroit Edison, turning energy into solutions.
In 1848, being the son of a runaway slave could easily lead to a life that was dark and dismal. Yet through his discoveries, inventor Lewis Latimer helped illuminate some of the darkness. Latimer's development of the carbon filament helped spark mass production of Edison's electric light bulb. Ever the optimist, he believed that we create our future by improving present opportunities. Lewis Latimer, A Moment in Our History.
A Moment in Our History is brought to you in honor of Black History Month by Detroit Edison, turning energy into solutions.
During the 1940s, Edgar Brazelton went from selling flowers on corners to owning a florist. Mr. B carved out a market before affirmative action existed. Since the '67 riots, he has been involved in many socioeconomic groups. In 1995, he received the Hank Gary Humanitarian Award for his contributions to his community. Mr. B states, "I've gone from a corner site to a website in my life." Edgar Brazelton, A Moment in Our History.
A Moment in Our History is brought to you in honor of Black History Month by Detroit Edison, turning energy into solutions.
In a profession that places emphasis on high marks, Fannie Moore Richards, Detroit's first black public school teacher, believed that through education, black people were going to make their mark. Richards' family moved to Detroit in 1851, where she set up and ran a private school. After years of struggle and hard work, Richards was appointed the teacher of colored school number 2, and later taught blacks and whites at Everett Public School. Fannie Moore Richards, A Moment in Our History.
A Moment in Our History is brought to you in honor of Black History Month by Detroit Edison, turning energy into solutions.
In the 1950s, radio and television held few opportunities for women or blacks. Yet, Trudy Haynes began a career in 1956 at WCHB. In 1963, she became the first black female weathercaster in Detroit and the country. Soon, she progressed to field reporting. By 1965, KYW-TV in Philadelphia hired Haynes to become their first black television reporter. Trudy Haynes, A Moment in Our History.
A Moment in Our History is brought to you in honor of Black History Month by Detroit Edison, turning energy into solutions.
Selma Burke truly lived the artist life. Studies in Europe, part of the Harlem Renaissance. She not only made a living, she literally made money. In 1943, Burke triumphed over competition to design the portrait of FDR that later appeared on the dime. Primarily known for her sculpture, Burke became the first African-American female artist to have a gallery named after her. Married twice, yet childless, Burke said art was enough. Selma Burke, A Moment in Our History. A Moment in Our History is brought to you in honor of Black History Month by Detroit Edison, turning energy into solutions.
As a struggling writer, Ron Milner drifted from job to job to support his family. At home, he worked 8 hours a day on a portable typewriter in the basement, but he always believed someday his talent would be recognized. At age 24, he received the Whitney Foundation's Opportunity Fellowship Award. Milner went on to create a diverse repertoire of national award-winning work. The Detroiter states, "I've always lived here, I've always come back." Ron Milner, A Moment in Our History.
A Moment in Our History is brought to you in honor of Black History Month by Detroit Edison, turning energy into solutions.
Facing the corporate glass ceiling, Carol Harris sought independence when she founded Harris Design Group, which soon became a design firm for such clients as the Detroit Zoo, WC3, and the People Mover. When the 80s recession changed her focus, Carol found herself going back to square one, quilting squares, that is. Her style encompasses studies of African culture and multidimensional aspects. Carol says, "I've tried to tap into my cultural memory." Carol Harris, A Moment in Our History. A Moment in Our History is brought to you in honor of Black History Month by Detroit Edison, turning energy into solutions.
In 1957, managed by young Berry Gordy and making $2.50 a week, Bobby Rogers and the other Matadors knew they could do better. Group leader Smokey Robinson convinced them to stick with Gordy. Adding Claudette, Bobby's cousin, and renamed the Miracles, in 1961 they released a #1 hit, Shop Around. After years of hits and changes, Bobby remains the last of the original members performing. Bobby Rogers, A Moment in Our History.